Peace, Black family. So, I just want to touch on a few things right quick. First of all, sorry, I apologize. Hopefully you are enjoying your African morning and you will have a great African day. I am sending positivity your way through this electronic device. Okay? May your day, may the rest of your week, may the rest of your life be filled with positivity and good African vibrations. But I just want to touch on this right quick. Number one, we should never argue with Europeans about our circumstance in the society. Don't argue with Europeans about that, because Europeans, for the most part, know all of this stuff already, right? Two, don't listen to statistics. Statistics, for the most part, are a bunch of hogwash, okay? Europeans understand that when you control the society, you ultimately control the outcome of a certain situation, of a certain community, of a certain outcome. Like, you control all of that. It's like Dr. Amos Wilson teaches us that the relationship between the mouse and the scientist in the Skinner box is a relationship between power, right? The rat doesn't get to eat if the rat doesn't perform a certain task. The rat doesn't get to drink if the rat doesn't perform a certain task. The rat gets shocked until the rat begins to behave in the manner that the scientist deems as worthy, right? That is the same relationship, unfortunately, that Europeans have created between themselves and Africans, right? They have learned to control the outcome, to control our behaviors. Therefore, they can sit back and say things like, well, we project in 2027 that black-on-black violence will be on the rise, right? Because they understand that they control the society, that they're dropping guns in the community, that they're creating unemployment, that they're disenfranchising the African community in the United States and globally, right? So therefore, they can make an accurate prediction based off of the things that they are doing in the society. That's why statistics, for the most part, is BS. It's like, say for example, I'll use the Bible, right? If I was to create a new Bible, think about this for a second. If I was to create a new Bible, and I'm 100% sure that the people who wrote the Bible had this in mind when they wrote the Bible. But if I was to create a new Bible, and I was to get control of the society, of the world, and I was to make weapons and HAARP, things that control, the atmosphere and to control natural disasters. And then I was to write in my new Bible saying things like, hell will fall down from the sky and it will rain for 40 days and 40 nights, knowing that I ultimately control the atmosphere. I can make earthquakes happen, right? At the drop of a dime with my HAARP machine. Then guess what? People are going to look at me and say, oh my gosh, this dude is the Messiah. He predicted that an earthquake was going to happen on this day and this day. And then, oh my gosh, he predicted that it was going to rain for 40 days and 40 nights. Not knowing that in getting control of society and making these weapons that can control natural disasters and natural events, and when I write my new Bible with that in mind, that is a mechanism to take control of your mind and to have you fall in line with everything I need you to fall in line with. Because now you believe that I am somehow a prophet. Of course, prophecies in the Bible will come true when the people who wrote the Bible are in control of the society, or who altered the Bible. Because I know a lot of Negroes say, man, we wrote the Bible. We the real Jews, but I'm sorry, you stupid. You so pseudo, you so stupid. And you know what? I gotta stop doing that. But I get it, because to some degree we gotta understand that people can only see as farthest as they can stand. You can only see as further as you can stand. So tall people can see further. They can see over the gate. Short people might not be able to see that far. And I mean that in saying that your worldview can only take you as far as you have read. Your conception of life, of what it means to be African, from the spiritual and the metaphysical or the physical, however you want to put it, can only take you as far as you travel. You get what I'm saying? How many museums you went to, how many artifacts you've touched, like how many books you've read can only take you as far as you encountered them. And also, let me also say this. A lot of people too have read many books and have not internalized the information. That is the most important part. You must not only read the books, you must not only travel to these places, but you must also internalize the information, and then internalize it, and then utilize it. Because a lot of us can regurgitate like a mug. We can blah, 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 yup, and then blah, 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 but it doesn't benefit us in institution building. It doesn't benefit us in our attitude. Some of us are still nasty as hell to each other. You're like, damn, you know all this information, you still got an attitude with black people? How the hell does that work out? Some of us, it creates narcissism in us, right? So your worldview can only be shaped by how much information you have taken in, internalized, and begin to utilize. You know, so I don't say that to make fun of, the Hebrew Israelites or make fun of the Moors and all that. But if you're reading this Bible all day and you're not ever picking up another source of information to counter what you believe in. See, when I read, this is just me personally, when I read, I just don't read about Pan-Africanism so it can boost how I feel about Pan-Africanism. I just don't read all the good stuff about Pan-Africanism. I read the bad stuff. I read the intermediate stuff. I read all sources of different information, right? Some of us don't like to do that because we feel like it'll shake our belief system. Christians are like that. Christians don't feel like, man, I don't want to hear nothing else outside of what I already believe in. Because if you say something that might shake my belief. It might make me worry. Muslims are like that. Again, black Muslims are like that. Their worldview has been shaped on Islam. So they don't want to talk about the time where, Arab Muslims enslaved Africans. They don't want to talk about that. They'll skip right over that. They'll be like, oh, no, what you talking about? What you talking about the Arab slave trade? Hell no. The white people enslaved us. They'll skip right because their worldview has been shaped on that. It's cognitive dissonance. You know what I'm saying? Their core belief is now being challenged. And since their core belief has been shaped on something, on the foundation of something, you're now shaking that person like, whoa. That's why it's cognitive, right? Thinking, like being aware, cognitive dissonance. Dissonance meaning to separate from one, to separate from that idea like, whoa, what are you talking about? Arabs enslaved us and that's not our real religion. And when we say these prayers, we say Arabic prayers. What are you talking about? Bilal was discriminated against in the Quran. The Quran is a great holy Bible. No way. It can't have no form of discrimination. No. So, same thing with Christians. Same thing in these ideologies that we believe in. A lot of us only want to read the information that strengthens our ideology. We don't want to read the stuff that has shake the core because it's already shaky for us. It's already not a solid foundation for us. So again, getting back to my original point, you got to watch out. Don't argue with Urugu, right? These whole statistics things, they can be shaped in so many ways. They say numbers don't lie, but people do. And people can alter and change those numbers. Those numbers can change based off of people. I'll give you a prime example. Check it out. Here in Florida, for a long time, Miami-Dade was like the number one, AIDS, HIV infested place, right? And so one day I was like, well, those statistics, those numbers are based off of how many people got tested in Miami-Dade, right? Think about that. The statistics are based off of how many people actually got tested in Miami-Dade. But what if there are more people infected with HIV and AIDS in Polk County, but they just didn't get tested? So the numbers are only based off of the people who actually got tested. There can be more people in Polk County or Duval somewhere that got AIDS like a mug, but because they didn't get tested, the numbers are showing that Miami-Dade is the highest. Another example with black on black violence and murder, right? When they say things like, well, white people, black people are only 15% of the population, but make up 50% of the murders. Well, how about this? Here's the funny part about statistics. They don't tell you how many unsolved white murders go unsolved. They don't tell you that. They only go off of the arrest. They go off of the arrest. They don't tell you about how many George Zimmermans are out there, how many white cops are out there shooting black people and they're not getting charged. They only go off of the arrest. So if you are arresting and convicting more black people for murder, but you have more white people getting off for murder, then of course the statistics is going to look in your favor. It's going to look like, oh, well, white people are less violent than black people. White people don't commit as much murder as black people do, because more black people are arrested and convicted for murder. This is why I say you have to be careful with the statistics, because we get caught up in that. We get blinded by that. We get thrown off because people say things like, numbers don't lie. Yeah, but there is such thing as variables. A lot of things come into play with that. We must begin to not only think outside the box, but step on that damn box. Step on the box and then create our own box. And then think outside our own box. As far as everybody having the same way of thinking, I'm cool with different ways of thinking. I'm 100% cool with that. Everybody doesn't have to think like me. I don't want, if we had a whole bunch of robots, that wouldn't work for what we need. Because it's going to be one of us that's going to come up with a good idea. A great idea. That's going to challenge white supremacy. Right? We shouldn't all think alike. We should all have different points of views. But the main objective is to have that one goal in mind. And that is black empowerment. Some of us want everybody to be robots. And that's because a lot of us came out of the Christian faith. The Christian faith is like that. I got to go around and turn everybody into Christians. Right? So a lot of us came out of that faith system, and now we run around and say everybody got to be a Moor. And if you ain't a Moor, you stupid. And if you think you came from Africa because we indigenous, you stupid. You dumb. Because you ain't read all the books I read. And you dumb. Say they're Christians. If you ain't a Christian, you going to hell. You stupid. Banished with yourself. I'm under the firm belief now. Okay, well, is you African? Do you believe you African? What can we do with your ideology? Can we do something with it? A lot of them we can't. To be honest with you, Hebrew Israelite can't do nothing with that. Because their worldview has been shaped by white supremacy. I seen a dude one day online, and he was saying he was saying a whole bunch of gibberish. Let me just say that. A whole bunch of gibberish about how the Bible is really our book, and et cetera, et cetera. And I really just think in my head, like, if it is our book, why are we not reading it in any real African languages? Like, a lot of people might say, well, but you're not reading it in your language, in any language that's native to you. Like, you're reading it in English, and you're not an Englishman. You're not an Englishman. Okay? None of you don't speak Hebrew. And then the Hebrew that we do call Hebrew today is Yiddish, which is Germanic, right? And parts of Hebrew. And then you have Arabic in there. So, it's just so much stuff. Because, again, not trying to make fun of nobody, but their worldview has been shaped by that. But anyway, with that being said, somebody also asked me a question. Somebody said, Brother Hassan, can you go further into the idea of history in our black love relationships? So again, as I said in the previous video, if you don't understand someone's history, you're not going to have a productive love relationship with them. Let me give you a prime example. Our first interactions with the opposite sex is usually with our parents, right? Our first warmthness from a mother is from, from a woman is from our mother. Same thing goes for the female. It's supposed to be for her father. But if that father is absent, you will see that her behaviors will go in line with not having a male figure, right? You will see that. When you get older and you start dating and someone cheats on you, the next relationship you get in, whether consciously or subconsciously, you're going to start monitoring that partner to see that partner is cheating on you. Oh, what are you doing? Oh, because the last relationship I was in, he used to get off at 8 o'clock. He wouldn't come home until 10 o'clock. Like, those things play in your mind. Like, you have to understand that your brain records things, right? It contrasts things. It looks for familiarity in things, whether you want to or not. Whether you want to or not. And so each time you get in a relationship and a person does something to you, whether negative or positive, you either want to recreate that thing or you are looking out for that thing. That's why when you get into these intimate relationships, girls be like, oh yeah, suck right there, lick right there. You know, I ain't trying to be too vulgar, but they're like, yeah, do that right there. Because that person that they were with before that did that. And they liked it. And it created good tingly, feelings that were, released in their brain. Same thing with men, right? So our history goes in line with almost everything. Everything. Your history is in line with everything. Believe that, because history, it shapes you. And that's why I use the term history is the sum total of your experience. History is the sum total of your existence. You are your history. Your history is you. Everything about you. Until you understand that, you're not going to understand why you behave the way you behave. You're not going to understand why you react to the things you react to. Again, as I used the analogy before, the same way the therapist tells you to sit on that chair and tell me about your childhood. Because that is a perfect way to determine why you act the way you act. What traumatic events have you went through? So it's just basically, if you want to have a positive, productive relationship, you have to understand that person's history. You have to go deep into that person's history, right? Because you begin to see things, and you will begin to notice things, right? But with that being said, family, I know I went touching on a few different topics. These are things that I had on my mind. These are things that people asked me. So I appreciate it. Share this video, like this video, comment, subscribe.